aftertaste after this election that is actually prompting members to raise queries. We will be asking an hour of questions tonight. How can NRM pick up pieces from this very divisive election and move on to ensure cohesion in the party? Does the opposition have anything to learn? And besides, could this be a snippet of what the country should expect in yet a looming election coming in 2026? Welcome aboard. I'll be joined by Honorable Salam Musumba, the proud lady from Kamuli, Busoga, and a founding member of the People's Front for Freedom. Major Okwiri Raboni, Director Mobilization at the NRM Secretariat. Honorable Jimmy Akena, the President of the UPC, not yet ousted. Well, there are quite a number of issues, internal issues within the UPC. Frontliner and hopefully an incoming MP for older persons, Honorable Ofono Opondo, all beaming with excitement after winning. And together with Honorable Semuju Ibrahim Nganda, the Secretary General of the PFF. Good to have you all and a very good evening. First, I must congratulate you. I thought this was a joke, but I'm surprised it's come true.
I hope you are sincere with the congratulations. I know you did give me fuel, therefore there is no reason why you should say that you thought it was a joke. Because you gave me fuel. I
hope the IGG won't come for you declare your cesses.
I'm no longer a government official. It is not the government officials who should declare if it is beyond. If it is beyond 200,000, and what you gave me was truly beyond 200,000.
You were on set, and I thought you were just making a big joke. I'm surprised you made it. But that aside.
No. I did explain to you on this show that after 26 years as a spokesperson of the movement secretariat, presidential task forces, 5 of them since 2001, spokesperson of NRM since 2004 to 2016, and the government spokesperson director media center 14 years. I needed to move on. I had thought I would move on into Kapele Byong, but my other colleagues said, no, you can't just go. You keep around, and I did keep around. They persuaded me, and they poured in some little money, some resources, because I was not prepared, so I had not saved money for elections. I had saved money for farming and other businesses.
Do we imagine you're now You're now going to join the eating club?
I have been part of the eating club, if you didn't know, because for all these 26 years, I've been riding a vehicle every 5 years, a new car, chauffeur-driven, fuel, serviced by the taxpayers' money. So I've been part of. And so...
Maybe you were eating crumbs then, now you're getting to the high table.
Well, you can't speak for the government and eating crumbs, but I'm modest. I am modest. Now, so I said, let me go in. And of course, I have better high name recognition, face recognition, because of these offices, but also because of I'm among the few people in Uganda who enjoy multiple media platforms. I write in the newspapers, I speak on radio, I have quotable quotes, and I speak on TV.
Well, I want us to get straight to the crux of our debate tonight. You were in the tent and witnessed all the drama. What were your biggest highlights in the SEC elections?
SEC elections, there was no surprise, because once we called for nomination, expression of interest, particularly at the level of the second National Vice Chairperson, female, the person who sought this seat, the Right Honorable Annette Amon, in my view, picked form properly and politically too. The person who has been sitting in SEC for the last 20 years, Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, for some reason, found that or an offense, or offensive to her. And she began throwing superlatives, which in my view was uncalled for. Particularly knowing that Honorable Kadaga for the last 39 years has been among the vanguard women promoting the upliftment of women and bringing them to the public fora in leadership. I had thought that she should have taken that in stride when a younger person seeks the highest office. You encourage them, even when they are in competition with you. I thought she should have done that. Unfortunately, she took a different direction.
Yeah, her contention was, how come Chigongo? Chigongo's position is ring-fenced.
Chigongo, in this particular election, there were 5 people who picked nomination papers against Chigongo. And I can now tell you this on record. Many of them were a little younger people. When they went to SEC, and they had told their friends that they wanted to go there so that they have direct audience with the president and the leadership of NRM. And then they asked for jobs. And they said, Mr. President, SEC members, we have come to appear before you because we wanted an opportunity so that we can put our plight. And when they were told, okay, if that was the main reason why you are studying, what do you say now? Now that you have met us, then they said, we are going to withdraw because we have achieved the first step. We have met you. And they willingly withdrew. And right
after ransoming the president?
Well, they attempted ransom. I don't know whether they will achieve, because there were about 3 or 5, I don't know whether each of them will achieve what they wanted. I'm not so sure. But that was it. And in our NRM politics, actually, not just for Chigongo, even when I was running for this election, by the way, you get somebody who is not even known in a sub-county also picking nomination form. Now, when you reach the register, he knows Ofono Pondo has been a spokesperson of government, probably has money, and then he comes and says, can you give me 500,000? Can you give me 300,000? So that behavior has come up in the NRM politics, and I think in other parties as well, probably. So
what happened was typically expected.
The
violence, the bribery, the mudslinging.
First of all, this is not the first time. You remember when Audrey Rwavogo picked nomination forms in 2016, I think, 2015. I think 2015, yes, to contest for Vice Chairman Western. You remember our uncle, Major General Matai Charagonza, made a lot of noise. And eventually the president, having other relations with Odrek, compelled Odrek to withdraw and leave it for Matai Charagonza. When Kiwanda came against Naduri, Naduri also made noise. Apparently we have leaders in NRM who do not appreciate the tendencies, the principles of NRM. Because NRM, we say, whoever says they are NRM during the day, unless otherwise, we take them so. So for Right Honorable Kadaga to have raised the issue of Anita coming yesterday, what would you say about the late Jacob Bolanya? He also came and rose to Deputy Speaker, rose to Speaker, rose to Vice Chairman, Northern. What would you say about people who were shooting at NRM and NRA, even when NRM was in the government? Well, as soon as they abandoned the war path, they come into cabinet. What would you say about Honorable Mao, who in the last election ran against President Museveni? What would you say about a UPC member of parliament who is a minister in the government of Uganda, but she has not renounced her UPC-ship or UPC membership? So this has been the way NRM is harmonizing the politics of Uganda.
I want to shift to another guest, but what particularly stood out for you with a lot of concern?
What stood out for me was that over commercialization of politics, particularly by the candidates, incumbents, and candidates who are coming from the business side, And then there are those whose source you don't know. And I think our failure as a party, we let down our own party, we let down our membership, we let down the country. We have failed at the initial stages to stop, to crack the whip, even where there is evidence. So for me, that was the highlight. And then, of course, the visible extortion by the voters. In this election, in that number, you could see that voters put a price tag. Somebody says, in my district we have 7 voters. Each of my voters want 300,000. Now you see, but in number here, our rules do not allow us to distribute money. And you say, but if I give you this money, there are cameras here. Even if you had it and you are willing. So on both sides, we the candidates, or I can say we the leaders, and because the people who were in Namboli were all leaders. Because they were people who had been elected, the least position, they had come from a sub-county. The overwhelming majority were people who had been elected up to the district level. They were the ones asking for this extortion. And then we leaders were also promoting, I think, weakness in what do you stand for. And so we cut corners. You think that by giving money, by competing in how much, like those guys in entrepreneurship, where I went to Kapchorwa, and I found a candidate who was seeking chairmanship of entrepreneurship national. They previously had gone there. For them, they were having 5 delegates in the district. He had given 1 million shillings. The day I arrived at 2. His competitor came in the morning. And when he was told his rival had given 1 million, he put 200,000 addition. So he gave 1.2. Even if this money was legit, because there are things we must spend on. You must spend on hiring a venue. You must spend on refreshment. You must spend on probably transport reimbursement. Now, if you look at young people, even women, old people, somebody comes to your meeting 40 kilometers away, is meeting you the first time. Surely, that kind of spending probably is legitimate.
Thank you. Honorable Akena, before I bring you on board, I need to tell our viewers, our audiences on social media, on TikTok and YouTube, that we are now shifting to Afro Mobile, so you can get there and continue watching the show. Honorable Akena, what are your big takeaways from the entire NRM electoral process?
I don't know where to start from. You see, when I take it in the context of, these are the people who claim to have gone to the bush because of an election being rigged. And what we have seen from the primaries, the levels of violence, the theft, the bribery, opened, something which nobody can deny. The whole country has seen openly being displayed. It's only the president who says we shall investigate. I don't know. On other issues, his intelligence is so perfect, he will probably know what Simuju had for breakfast. But when it comes to this bribery within NRM, we are all blind. But you see, for me, what was missing, or what came out clearly, it both come out in one way or the other. What was missing was direction. You're watching these leaders who are supposed to be leading the country into the future, but I am not getting any vibe of any direction. It's just this internal wrangling, and at the end of the day, NRM has shed this whole notion of ideology, because you're hearing somebody talk about old ideology, new ideology, but it's not defined. What is it that NRM stands for? What is it that NRM is bringing to the people of Uganda today? In 2025, it is not coming out. What comes out clearly, and knowing some of the actors and the players, is that they are declaring that they are going to ravage this country of ours without mercy. The resources, where are these resources coming from? The whole process, 72,000 villages. If you take a budget of maybe 100,000 shillings per village, that's 7.2 billion. Now they went through this whole process of register, village elections, parish, all through this thing. Where's the money come from? Those are questions that this democracy which is supposedly created, we have failed to manage it. This is the 4th national conference of the NRM. 4th. According to their constitution, they are supposed to have at least 2 in a term. So we should be in the 8th.
No, we are wrong. We have at least 1.
No, it says 2. I have read your constitution.
I have been the spokesperson.
You've been the spokesperson.
We have never amended that particular provision.
Just take it from me. I will get it in the course of the show when you want, but at least, but the point which I'm making here is even in the national process, how many times have we postponed the LC1 elections? And the reason given on the floor of Parliament is that we don't have the resources. So people went to the bush claiming elections were rigged. The people who fought the war, many of them were not voters, could not have been voters in the period where the war took place. After this devastation, you go through these years. First of all, 20 years where we are banned from participation. Now this is what you present to Uganda as the fruit of the democratic process. Honestly, to God.
Major Okiri, would we then conclude that at the end of the day, this is typically NRM politics? It's money, blackmail, guns, bloodshed, just for an internal democratic process.
Thank you, Simon, and evening viewers. I'm a bit disappointed by the debate we are having, by how we have set the debate. First of all, the introductory clip seems to have determined that this was a failure. The exercise was a failure, the national conference was a failure. Then secondly, you, the moderator, also is sending a message that everything has collapsed.
Yeah, but it was glaring. It was in full glare.
First of all, we managed to bring 23,000 delegates into the capital. And we were able to manage this process for 2 days, but before that we had had SEC, we had had NEC, and special interest groups. So the successes were more than the few hitches that we got, which hitches are symptomatic of politics in the global south, where the majority of our people are poor, and some of them don't have the civic competence to manage Western democracy norms and practices. But the prophets of doom who say always that the party is collapsing, that's what they said when Amama Mbabazi stood in 2016. But NRM is still a very, very strong party.
So in this case, the bad overshadows the good?
Not at all, not at all. We who were there and interacted with the delegates and talked to them and ate with them, and there is a lot of optimism about the growing strength of the NRM.
Is this an election you can write home about, really?
It is. First of all, this party has a huge membership, as our register shows, which we recently updated. And the structures of the party are everywhere. That's what people forget, is that in every village we have a committee of 30 people. Uganda has 72,000 villages. So that takes you to about 2.1 million members of the party. And all those people pass through, this was a process, not an event. The conference was a culmination of elections at every level: branch, parish, sub-county, district, then national. And all those processes were carried out efficiently. So then secondly, what people have forgotten is that you keep talking about transition. The Central Executive Committee, when you look at it now, is made up of younger people.
New guard.
And what you call a tragedy, that the older people have been thrown out, they have been marginalized, is not true. Because not being a member of SEC does not mean you are no longer a member of the NRM and you no longer make your voice heard. So I'm very excited that the new group that has formed SEC, that the new SEC that we have is fresh, vibrant, and they are ready to mobilize for the party.
So you can wish away all the comments, the issues that were being raised.
In fact, very many of us, the senior leaders of the party, are saying that we should have meetings after this to see how we can strengthen the code of conduct and implement it in a more effective way, so that the issue of money and violence can be tackled very, very
well. Yeah, but this is not isolated. Let's start from the primaries. From the primaries, the party never had time to sit down to reflect and perhaps sanitize the process.
Well, we have. But when you have 23,000 delegates in one space, and there are different interests involved, it is normal for people to disagree.
What dogged
and
the party
especially
primaries?
The young people. First of all, the violence that you saw.
Major, what dogged the party primaries is the same that dogged the SEC elections. So that speaks to a pattern.
SEC elections were very smooth. The problem was with the youth, special interest groups. That was the day before yesterday, Tuesday. That's when that violence which you saw, chairs being thrown around and ballot boxes kicked. It was an incident involving the youth elections to the party league. But otherwise, the other organs, we did a good job.
Honorable Semuju, what really stood out for you, and what are the big takeaways for the political discourse of this country?
I think for me, even if I made no conclusion and just listened to the NRM leaders, the Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, what was her conclusion about these processes? The Honorable Chris Wariomunsi, what was his conclusion about these processes? The Honorable Mike Mukola, what did he say about the NRM processes? Because for me, outrightly, I'm going to be accused of bias. So I want to listen more to the NRM. What are they saying themselves about these processes? Ofono Pondo here, I congratulate him as a friend, as a brother. I think his conclusion would have been different if he had not succeeded. That's why he has started with something else, and then the disappointment is at the end. So the disintegration of the politics, because political party processes are supposed to give the country refined, capable leaders with integrity, with knowledge. Because these fellows who are being selected are going to run a country. This is our business, all of us. Are these the fellows that you want to run your business? These fellows who have gone through Anita Mongo, someone else. If you had a private business, would you entrust it with the fellows who are going to run the country? That's what should bother every Ugandan. What should bother every Ugandan, assuming Uganda was a private company, are the sort of fellows NRM is processing. Would you trust any business with these fellows that they run it, even if it is a nursery school? But they are the ones they have brought. And they claim they want to run a country and make it prosperous.
What's wrong with them? For instance, there is the Speaker of Parliament.
For me, I've always put standards. Get a company, successful company like MTN, Airtel, and subject any of these fellows to an interview and see where they will end. They will not even be receptionists. They are now in sake that they are going to run the country, cry for Uganda. Even before you speak about the process that brought them, do they have the capacity to run a country? Because the fight was not just a fight for, but Ofono Opondo has told you, those who are contesting against Moses Chigongo, they wanted jobs. As soon as they appeared before Museveni, they said, we are very happy we have appeared before you, we want jobs.
Sort us out.
Yeah. What has, I have always said as a journalist, I went to cover Parliament in 1998. That's when Monta deployed me there, towards the end of 98. And I saw the NRM front bench at that time. From Wapakaburo, Chintu Musoke, Professor Rugumayo, Professor Kagonyera, the Mushegas, the Mbabas, etc.
And today?
Compare. Nabanja, Anita Mongo. Who are the others that you brought? Ofono Opondo.
I thought you sit with them in Parliament.
No, I'm looking at the ones that you processed yesterday. Compare.
But probably I thought the other ones were higher quality because their mind was also young.
Even today they will, because you see, Ofono Opondo, I have read the answers of Parliament of the Vyanyimas in the 60s, of the 6th Parliament of the Musumbas, and the answer of today. I don't even know why we continue publishing it, because there is nothing to read. So the quality that parties are churning out to run the country is what should worry everybody, because Uganda is our business collectively.
Yeah, but
we should be looking for people.
But fighting in party processes is not exclusively in NRM. I remember when you were at Nambole, there used to be big fights. You remember the contest between Muntu?
You see, it can take time. If you look at the FDC at its inception and the FDC that eventually collapsed with Nana Ramafabi, there is a difference, a very big difference. That FDC that I admired, that I said I should join, and the one today that is running a briefcase, you will be insane to seek to join it. So for me, that worries me. But all these things have been, so they have not happened by the accident. When Museveni came here, he started by purging the military. All his contemporaries with whom he came from Luwero, I think he has now exhausted and finished all of them. Then he started with the politics, undermining the senior leaders. Unfortunately, the ones who are crying today, because Charlie Gonza was in SEC, Museveni used Wariomunsi to remove him. Maybe Wariomunsi was happy that for me he will keep me there. But this Museveni is like a lion. I've told the people, when you can't befriend a lion. The moment it has nothing to eat, you will be the one next. So Wariomunsi was used to remove Matayo Charigonza. He has also now been removed. Kadaga, who claims to be senior, also joined yesterday. She should ask herself what happened to other seniors. The only constant is Museveni. So the money in this particular election of Ofono Opondo, I saw Museveni saying, I am going to investigate money. Museveni gave Kadaga 800 million. And he said, you go and bribe voters. 800 million.
Are you sure about that?
I am sure. He even told her you can access a helicopter if you want to use it. I don't know how much he gave Anita Among, and he said you can go and fight, and then he was there laughing. So these things are deliberate. They are not isolated, it's not an accident. These fellows who are throwing around money, it is money that the majority of them are accessing, money that should be doing roads, money that should be putting drugs in hospital. So what worries me is that now you have a set of human resource that NRM has prepared, and I have heard Major Okwirwabon, who was with Besigye, complaining against these very things, now rationalizing them. I don't know what he was doing with Besigye. You remember when you were being arrested at Entebbe?
Kung Fu.
You cannot, Okwirwabon, it should be another person. You cannot seek to rationalize these ills. Sooner than later, they will catch up with everybody.
Thank you.
So please wait a second. So the drama that you saw is a drama that is deliberate. It's not an accident. And that's why you saw Museveni there witnessing it, presiding over all this drama until it ended. And things will only get worse I'm actually surprised that they allowed Ofono Opondo to go through, because this is not the quality that they want. Should have allowed some other fake person to complete a team. Because
thank you. Honorable Salam, there is a sense that Busoga lost their own. Is Kamuli crying?
Yes, of course we are.
Oh, wow.
Because tell me, who is the highest ranking Busoga in SEC? Just show me.
Busoga? Well,
do you know anybody of the elected people?
There is a time Anita Monk said she's Mama Busoga, the legit Mama Busoga.
I'm talking about Musoga. Now don't take me there, because that I have to, that I will have.
Is there a Japadola ranking in PFF?
Yes.
PFF.
PFF.
There is.
Who's that one?
There's Makoha.
Makoha is a Japadola?
Tell us.
I'm not aware.
He asked me specifically Busoga.
Yes.
So don't try to vulgarize it. I didn't ask the question. And so there is none. So we are off the table. Okay? Thank you very much.
Were you benefiting from Kadaga's presence or Kadaga's occupation?
So why are we talking about it?
Why is it such an issue?
It is an issue because it was contested. And you're talking about 4 million Busoga at the heart, at the geographical heart of this country. That's why we are important, sir. Okay? You can't write us out. These Japadolas are how many? How many are you? Maybe 1 million people? No. Pardon?
they are not.
They are not. So if you're talking about representation and a place on the table, 4 million people of us who keep this country and this trade route are off the table. It's not a joke.
Okay, you subjected yourselves to a process and lost. Simple.
This manipulated process, as you have already accepted, it was choreographed. They are looking for weapons. And this is one of the weapons they'll need in the next stage of state capture. Okay? So don't look about human resource. It is about weaponry, human weaponry that they are setting up.
New vibe.
Which is vibe? You know you picked the wrong English.
No.
There's no vibe, my dear. This is thuggery par excellence. Is that what you saw called vibe? Absolute thuggery.
No, we're looking at
Come
new guards
on.
breathing new air
There is
in the party.
nil, sir. You should look at a gentleman and a lady offering themselves to lead, walking through the main door with elegance and dignity. These are guys that are trading in the gutters, looking for thugs to process them through. Do you know how many people's tags were used wrongly? Confiscated. And writing in false people. I have a whole list of them because it's my business. Region by region, what was that?
Is it your business?
It is my business. The health of the democracy, the health of society is my business. Sir, just in case you don't know. I'll also tell you that this, you reap what you sow. Because NRM and its leadership has invested in destroying political parties, in destroying institutions and agencies. They gave very little time. They invested little time into themselves. And so they are picking up the pieces of where they have led other parties to. In destroying, in having their knee on our neck, they were also down. They have nothing to offer with all the money that they have invested.
So if it is a demolition of the NRM, who benefits?
Nobody. Nobody does. Because you see, it is infectious, it is contagious. It's a killer. It's a killer of society. Because if you are not allowing parties to breathe, parties to manage, parties to evolve, and you are worse than them, then as bogus as your act. And we must read the Riot Act to NRM for using state resources. Did you see the police deployment? Did you see the military deployment for an internal party organ? Did you see the investment? Did you see how taxpayers?
Yeah, but don't you find that ironical that Major Okiri Raboni says, overall, it was a good, well-organized.
I'm not going to critique him, because once upon a time, he saw what we saw. I spent days with him in London. We are buddies. And so what he's saying is not the truth. It has been repackaged to fit the positioning. But I know that in his heart of hearts, he knows that where we are taking the country is in the wrong direction. And listen, there's no glee about it. Don't think we are laughing at a dead body. No, we are not. Because it's too dangerous for a nation to treat itself nationally, regionally, and internationally. In fact, the people their invited guests must be bewildered at how bogus a so-called ruling party can so badly fail. I've watched those ones of Kenya and of Tanzania. CCM would never do this. Do you know they couldn't even accredit their people on time? Do you know they allowed people without accreditation to access?
Well, Honorable, we can pick it up from there. I found it quite stunning that UPC...
Did you listen to Variomus?
Yes, and we're going to play.
Variomus said they had an army of voters moving from one station to another.
Which it was.
Participating, yes. You had ferried an army of voters. They call Busoga, they go and line up.
Yes.
After that, they line up when they call Koboko. No. That's what Variomus said. He can be played here for you. You are saying, you know, he was lying, or you are saying, you know, that I am misrepresenting him?
I don't know whether he was lying or you are misrepresenting him, because I have not heard him.
So where is your no coming from?
But
you have not heard him.
I participated. First of all, you asked me a specific question.
We need to take a very short break, and we'll be returning.
Really
Honorable Akena should be telling
you
us
are looking bad.
why UPC turned up at the event that they really feel wasn't auguring well with internal democracy. Good evening. Remember what happened at Mbarara during the election of Honorable Norbert Mao. Now it's come to NRM. So is internal democracy more of an illusion? Well, Honorable Akena, what a surprise that your party was well represented at Kololo. How significant was your turn-up?
Unless you have not been in Uganda, I have been possibly the champion of iPod. I have really pushed for iPod, and under the iPod arrangement, we do have that issue of attending other people's delegates' conference and functions.
You legitimized the sham, if I could borrow Variomus's word.
iPod is a different issue. And the issue which I pushed in iPod when we went around funding was how to strengthen these institutions called political parties. When I cry about NRM not function as a party, I cry as a national. I would rather have a functioning NRM, a functioning UPC, a functioning PFF. All of these parties should be functional, that they be able to carry the aspirations of the people of Uganda. What we have seen on display and some of the issues which we know behind the scenes. And now, okay, we talk an issue about Busoga, things about Busoga. But something which has passed under, I've seen it mentioned in a few stories here, the levels of poverty in Busoga do not make sense in a modern day Uganda. And how are we addressing those issues? We're not addressing those issues. We're now talking about the personalities. And that is how politics has been reduced to the issue of personalities. Am I represented sitting on some table there? It does not matter whether the people down below are going well. Now, in Parliament, almost 90% of members of Parliament have ambulances.
We'll certainly get to that. But I was questioning, you're showing up at Kololo.
I'm putting this one in context.
Yes.
I'm putting this in context. That gives you a failing system. Now, rather than correct that failing system, we want to go there, get the same sort of resources, and do the same thing. So, you must separate the two issues of what I believe as a policy direction, what I believe is the best for Uganda, and this function of the ruling government, which is also a part of IPOD.
So your party is causing up with the NRM, very comfortably.
Please, IPOD is a roundtable discussion, where we sit around a round table and discuss issues about IPOD. Other arrangements, which Fonopono tried to bring about earlier, I look at a national government as a government for the people of Uganda, and we should stop this issue of thinking this is an NRM issue. NRM doesn't own this government. This government is property of the people of Uganda. When you're serving there, you're serving the people of Uganda. If we now start saying that we're in office to serve particular sections of society, you have missed the point. If you're fighting for government, you're fighting for government for the people of Uganda.
You went to Kololo. UPC went to Kololo.
UPC went under the auspices of IPOD. IPOD.
You were invited.
IPOD.
They were tagged.
IPOD.
Did you have an option to say no?
Yes.
Considering
but we have never walked out of IPOD. Unless you're telling me I should walk out of IPOD because of some other issue. IPOD, separate the issues. IPOD, I remain committed to IPOD. Well, despite whatever has gone wrong, I will remain committed to IPOD.
For the benefit of our viewers, before I get to Honorable Ofono Pondo, well, he already wears the tag. You see, even
the other person said the clown, so maybe I'm going to be a clown today.
Well,
who is that man who said the clown?
No,
even his swag has changed. He walks with a lot of honorable swag. But if you could listen in to what Honorable Chris Bariomunsi said at Kololo, it would be very interesting. Take a listen.
I am not associated with this kind of election, Your Excellency. It is a very big embarrassment for NRM to organize this kind of election where people just run from one police station to join another. There is no election to talk about here, Your Excellency. Whether I win or not, the results will be illegitimate. And we will want a clean process. Although they haven't carried, I disagree with whatever results will come out of this poll, especially for Western, Your Excellency. And if NRM continues like this, then there will be a problem, Your Excellency. You can ask some of the voters who are here. This is not an election, Your Excellency.
Chairman of the National Resistance Movement in charge of Eastern Uganda, I've taken deep consideration, having evaluated the irregularities which have been marked by commercialization of this election. Your Excellency, sir, our party, as you said the other day in the National Executive Committee, that the commercialization of our election is us playing with fire. And I recall this, Your Excellency, because you do understand that we have now introduced into our party the sole profile
of the processes there.
Are you talking because you won?
Yes, no, not because I won. Let us pick one by one. Right Honorable Kadaga has been our second vice chairperson for 20 years. Earlier on, when we were in NRC, the president single-handedly appointed her deputy vice chairperson. Listen, NRC. Yes.
New constitutional dispensation.
Yes.
Can you compare what is comparable?
Under this NRM, Right Honorable Kadaga has been our chairperson, our second vice chairperson, for 20 years.
Yes.
If there was something to deliver for Busoga, if she was representing just Busoga, she should have delivered it.
No, but she was raising issues about the integrity of the process.
I'm talking about her being fought, and therefore my community will, which honorable Salam? You spoke, I listened to you.
No, because you're misleading yourself.
Just take notice. Just take your notes. You can respond later. Honorable Kadaga, Honorable Salam here, in the last election, 2020-2021, if Kadaga was so good, how come she challenged her?
Because I am from another party, sir.
Yes. No, but
do you get it?
No.
I am from another party.
No, but you should have left her.
I am from another party.
She was representing. But so please, don't cry for Busoga NRM if they remove
If
Kadaga.
they have Busoga PFFs and Busoga UPCs, we will fight.
The net import of what you did then was to remove a good.
Because I'm equally good. Because I'm equally good.
So
there was nothing to lose.
You are not genuine.
I am equally good.
You are not genuine.
I am very genuine.
Two, you, the Baganda, and I want to believe you're one, you're the ones who say, you have a saying, is it a proverb? You say, Bamusera mukatali ayombesa kubo. I don't know the evidence. My brother, my senior brother, Mukura has. Mukura. Barimus is my young brother, Mukura. After Mukura, Honorable Mukura raised the questions of too much money being spent. And you remember we were here last Thursday with him. There are things he said which are called on the sidelines of this show. How come, if the question was corruption was bribery, how come he stepped down in the nick of the hour? And guess what he did? He endorsed the person he was pointing at as using money whose sources were not understood. In fact, Honorable
was he refunded?
No. Actually, Honorable Mukura said that person was using money from foreign sources. But when he stood down, he recommended him to the voters.
So is he being dishonest?
I don't want to call it dishonest. I don't think, I think that's what we can put in the category, what we had said, probably sour loser. Remember, Honorable Mukura,
you know what happened?
in the middle of this campaign, listen, in the middle of this campaign, when he was facing pressure, he's the one who said, I have switched on. I am now going to deploy a helicopter to move me. That's what he said. I admit, he's a rich man. He can afford, he's a businessman of repute. He can afford a helicopter. But he's the one who said, I am switching on in our circumstance.
So was he was he bribing it to somebody? Because you're confused.
Saying, if you accuse somebody,
you're just confused.
No, listen, if you accuse somebody of using obscene money, of using unethical practice, of using money whose sources are foreign, and probably...
So for you, a helicopter is what?
And probably anti-Uganda.
It is transport.
And then when you step down, you endorse the same person.
Yeah.
Then you're not genuine.
I agree.
Then you see, we must speak straight. We must speak straight. Then you are not genuine.
Okay.
There are aspects in this election that NRM cannot hide. And the reason NRM puts this election in a public place is that we can all flash bright light there in the hope that we can see where the lizards are, where the rats are, where the cockroaches are. And for us, we are happy that we are able to see those. Now,
but Yomus, with this seniority, comes out and describes the election as a sham.
Listen. We had there 8 leagues of NRM which conducted elections. In one of those leagues, for example, Northern Uganda, for MPs for Northern Uganda, for older persons, we had close to 5 candidates. Now, if Honorable Kadaga is crying, Honorable Barimus is crying, Mike Mukula is crying,
Karangwa is crying.
Karanga is crying. But Karanga
even the
youth are crying.
But
Entrepreneur is crying.
Kiwanda is crying, but also endorsed Kasolo.
Yeah.
The youth are crying.
No, Kiwanda is crying, but also endorsed Kasolo.
Yeah, they
circumstantial.
Listen.
To get
that's why I'm saying
reimbursed.
they are not entirely genuine, because if Kiwanda is crying against Kasolo, but when he stepped down,
maybe the remainder the best.
He endorsed Kasolo.
Maybe
Karangwa is
Kasolo
crying,
is the best of
but
the world.
the others, and I can tell you this one, it took an ethnic tone. Why do you think, quote and unquote, they were candidates for Central Region? All stepped, the ones who stepped down for a Muganda.
Yes.
Against.
That's why it's Buganda.
No.
That's why it's Buganda.
No, actually we call it Central.
No, you said Buganda. That's Buganda.
Actually, I'm saying we call it Central for.
But it's Buganda.
So I'm saying there may be elements of truth, but they are raising it is not genuine. They are raising it because
can I ask you a
so
question?
while those people may cry, the overall
They are
body,
disingenuous, right?
yes, the overall body politics of that election is valid because not every league, not every person who participated is complaining. There are people who.
Did you want everyone to cry?
Can I ask you?
No, I'm not saying I wanted.
Can I ask you?
I am saying when you cry, who are the lawyers here? They
Can I
say,
ask
please,
you?
if you come to the temple of justice, please come with a clean pair of hands. And I am saying some of my colleagues who are crying don't have a clean pair of hands.
Can I?
Yes, you can come in.
I've actually written my article for Saturday saying, saying what somebody said. Maybe many of these people, some of these people are crying because they found people
With more money.
who are having more money and played them half clever.
Outfoxed
You see,
them.
the issues that
Outfoxed
Okay, fine,
them.
fine.
I want
So you can- yes,
OO to handle. Just help us to understand. Your entrepreneurs reach elections called off midway because one of the rich men there had not only bribed, but he had bussed people in Nairobi and Dar es Salaam. That's one. You had the youth elections, violence. You have senior people, one after another, complaining. So I want you to address those issues because they concern me. Issues of money, issues of violence.
Do you remember
issues
when,
of fake delegates.
do you remember when a vice president was crying? So you cannot prevent people, however big in your view they are. These people are crying.
Kadaga is a crybaby.
These people are crying. They also removed somebody. Let me take you back.
So you downplay their pain.
Yeah,
You're actually being diversionary. The process itself.
Let me take you back. When we created this position in 2005, second vice chairperson, female, we did not initially have it in our constitution.
It was an afterthought.
Yes, there were 4 women that time. Honorable Kadaga was the deputy speaker then. There was Bakoko Bakoro, Honorable Kadaga, Honorable Christina Poro, and Beta Akechi. We took the whole day in Nambole. We took the whole night in Nambole. We went and resolved. That's when we achieved the consensus at a breakfast at Presidential Lodge in Nakasero. I don't remember, and I was a member of SEC then. I don't remember Honorable Kadaga saying, you other women, leave for me this position.
But your phone upon you are now. Yes, you see.
Yes, I'm saying I don't remember.
Let's allow Samju to make
I don't remember her saying, leave for me this position because I'm a Busoga.
But you have selective memory.
No, but I remember her saying.
You have selective memory.
I remember her saying, of all us, the women who are in this position, I am the most senior. My voice will be heard. My voice is bold enough to uplift women issues. And I think she succeeded in occupation of that position, and others she has been able to successfully lift up the issues of women.
Honorable Semuju, you heard from...
Yeah, because you see, Ofono Pondo, with all his other shortcomings, on many of the serious issues he has been objective. He now wants to sweep under the carpet the issues that happen. You had youth fighting.
But I'm done raised it here that
you have the
use of money. I'm done for said it.
You had the entrepreneurs elections.
Are you saying
you raised it and now you're validating the process?
Are you saying that when NRM discovered that the conduct of the candidates in the entrepreneurship league and the conduct of the youth in that election was untenable, we should have proceeded? I think we took the right direction.
Okay. When did you discover? Let's
listen to Honorable Semuju first.
You see, 2 elections, 1, candidates failing delegates to other countries. The one of younger people, violence. And I saw the behavior of police. I asked myself, were these police now imported from heaven? Because it is NRM people who are fighting, they are not doing anything. they are just massaging them.
I thought you should have praised the police for, this time round. Behaving like a real police.
I am very happy. I saw them massaging NRM youth who are boxing each other. And I say now, was this police imported from heaven? That when it is NRM fighting, you don't even arrest, because no arrest was announced in Kororo there. But people were fighting, throwing chairs in the air. And then you come to the substantive elections. When you moved away from the earlier processes of, first of all, electoral college, but also security ballot, what was your intention? That you can go and line up and then have an election continuing throughout the night until morning?
4:30.
The old man was there up to 5:15.
You can give it to him
I
for
am
staying
told,
awake.
I am told,
but
when
if we are doing elections in the village where there's no electricity, there's no light, you can raise that argument. But when we are in Nambole, in Kololo, where you can't separate day from night,
the trouble is
sure,
that
you are able to say everything.
The trouble is that you are not patient. If only you listen.
Yes.
When the delegates, bona fide delegates, left tired, went to sleep, now they go to all the ushers, the ghetto youth, everybody.
By the way,
some of the winners were delivered by those codes.
Let me tell you, all the elections,
and you can have a professor. The professor as the chairman of the electoral commission who can't count from 160 to 200.
Let me help you, Honorable Semuju. Why the league elections took place in the night? This is the reason. We had to read the name one by one, and that took time. Why the election for the sake took place during the day?
Let's allow Semuju. We need to give other people space to speak.
Every delegate who was in Nambole was eligible to vote for SEC members.
As I said,
and therefore there was no need.
As I said at the beginning of the show.
So claims of fake names were outlandish.
Of course, who alleges.
As I said at the beginning of this show, listening to me will cause pain, and Ofonopono will dismiss me. That's why I was very happy when you played Mike Mokora, played Chris Wariomus. I don't know how many times you have met with Chris here. And I've told him everything that happens in every party. That's why you see these parties are public institutions. These parties are supposed to make a declaration to the Electoral Commission. We even taxpayers are funding meeting part of their expenditure. So these parties are public institutions. We should be concerned with everything and anything that happens in a political party. So you go and take over national facilities, you close roads, you take over our money and begin fighting, and in the end, you produce fake leaders. And these fake leaders are at the helm of our country. So the process in Kororo, but Chris Wariomu said they are very embarrassing. Ofonopono is celebrating, maybe partly because he went through. But the minister responsible for speaking for this government is saying anyone who's saying must be embarrassed by what happened. For you are saying, no, they are just crying because they lost the election. Leave Kadaga in all this. You see, Kadaga is raising legitimate issues. You are saying the issues you are raising are legitimate, but you are also been behaving that way. That's the only response you are making.
I want
because in the past,
I've just got a WhatsApp from Honorable Bariomusi,
yes.
and I think it will enrich our debate. Hello, frontliners. The NRM conference went well, save for the poorly organized elections. The voters' attitude was no money, no vote. They looked at money more than the quality of the leaders. Access control collapsed, and hired non-delegates accessed the conference and participated in the voting. Everybody inside was participating in elections, including ushers. Huge sections of people would move from polling station to polling station. I found Renzori region voting in a dark area. The whole exercise was bogus. This is Bariomusi. This election could have been organized better. Dr. Chris Bariomusi.
But is that different from what I said? I'm the one who said, who told you here that voters were extorting?
Because parties are supposed to generate issues, policy lines, policy platforms.
you see,
was there anything like that? What was it?
Listen.
And what didn't we hear it?
What was supposed to have been a debate between Anita Among and Kadaga? What did Kadaga say? But sir, you are protecting Chigongo. Why are you not protecting me? I am a senior. Anita Among came and said, I brought opposition MPs. Yeah, that's a national debate for national leaders who want to run a country.
Yes.
Who should be speaking about the economy? Yes. Who should be speaking about foreign affairs? They are saying, why didn't you protect me? The same way you are protecting Chigongo. For me, sir, I came here, brought people.
Being in news, not a crime.
What is the difference between the NRM debate and the nursery, kindergarten children,
But policy issues have been discussed in SEC and NEG.
No, but they were invited as candidates to speak.
Yes, but they were talking to them.
Let me get to Major Queen Raboni. Major,
this one was a voting place.
We are seeing a sweep. The old guard are out, save for two. The president, that is the chairman, and the first vice chairman.
No, before, you see, Chigongo, the first time he had competitors, I remember, either Babu was told to go and contest against Bukenya. That is for Catholics. And that's what happened. He was removed. The subsequent election, you had Kadunabi. He was told this one of Chigongo is a no-go area. And Kadunabi was removed and given a job. And that's why these young men who Fonopondo was talking about earlier knew that the one of Chigongo, no competition, but he used to go and access a job like Kadunabi did. In fact, the very first person was Medi Kagwa. That's how Medi Kagwa became the chairman of the Human Rights Commission. So, you cannot blame. You cannot blame these. You cannot blame the younger people. So if you want a job easy, if you want a job easy, you pick forms that you're contesting against.
Gentlemen, it's now Okirabon on stage. Yes.
First of all, at the beginning of this conversation, this program, I said I was disappointed. Why? It speaks to the reason why some Ugandans are apathetic. They are not involved in political party activities, neither are they very enthusiastic, because they look at us, the leaders, and they have no confidence. We do not exude maturity.
So where are they?
Now you see?
No, let them come.
We cannot have a decent conversation.
No, this is decent. You cannot judge people when you are just a desktop politician.
Now, what the people want, what you call issues, are number one, how do we organize our political parties so that we can have sensible dialogue and address the issues that affect.
Can we get to the gist of the question I posed to you?
That's what I'm saying, because Honorable Kena hinted at it. He said, you asked him a question, why did you go to Cologne? First of all, I don't know why you even asked that question. Because he told
Because it
you,
is a question.
we have an inter-party organization for dialogue.
So
Mature political parties talk to each other.
So that function
On
was
national-
FIPOD.
Mature political parties talk to each other on matters of national interest, on matters of national security, on important matters of the economy. We cannot be in an atmosphere of quarreling. You know, people look at us and say, what type of people are these who call themselves leaders? You know, throwing stones at each other, you quarreling, this one is wrong. When I looked at how FDC disintegrated sometime back, when the chairman of FDC was claiming a wall, and I was saddened. I said, now these people were forming a credible opposition platform. What happened? We should be, all of us collectively, trying to move and form strong political parties and having sensible dialogue. But the way we debate, even here in this program, we don't listen to each other, we quarrel. Now the people out there who are watching us, what do they think?
What is the
You
debate?
say, are these the people who are in charge of public affairs in Uganda? Because
I don't think we've
when I go
descended
out of
to-
Uganda, people have a lot of respect for our country. And the last 40 years, they said, you people, Uganda used to be a failed state like Somalia or the DRC, but now Uganda is exporting peace in Somalia and Uganda. Excuse me.
Major Raboni, can we get to the question, please? I am asking, is NRM experiencing a new dawn with the new crop that's coming in now?
Absolutely. I'm very happy about it. I'm very happy about those who are complaining. People who have lost an election. And in Uganda, we don't like losing an election. Everybody wants to petition after the election. When they say that your petition has no merit, you decide to stand as an independent. There is a lot of indiscipline.
Yeah,
across the political divide.
What does it mean when the new crop comes at a huge cost?
The most important thing is to build the capacity of our political parties, to have the right cadres leading them, to make sure that they address the most important issues that affect the citizens of Uganda. But this, political ping pong. You Okwiri, why did you leave your position? You, the other day, you insulted that one. Ugandans are not interested in that.
Okay, what does it mean when the new guard are coming in at a huge cost and the old guard
According to
who were appended are complaining, are
According to
bitter?
who? Do you think my people in Tora are interested in Kadaga losing an election? They're not. They have issues that they want their road from Mubende from Mitiana to Mubende to Chenjojo built.
So you can discount their concerns.
No, what I am
The party
saying,
can
I am
continue
saying that let's be
regardless.
serious. Let's be serious and address the issues that affect citizens in Uganda.
Were those issues discussed?
Okay.
Somebody loses an election and in his own political party.
Okay.
and that
Okay.
In which session were those issues discussed?
The new guard won
For the whole week you were here.
right?
In the
session.
You agree?
Part of the program.
Some
So
of
you
the
pick
new
one that
SEC
was,
members.
no.
One through the tweet of the president will also be sharing some of the comments that have come in from different other personalities. But the president comes out to say in his congratulatory message, I congratulate Right Honorable Anita Among upon being elected second national vice chairperson, female, for the NRM. Does it?
Is she the only one that...
Well, there are several others. Yes, there are several others.
He congratulates all
Anita
all
Among also comes out congratulating all the other members. There was another tweet that was making rounds. Unfortunately, it was verified to be not true.
No, let me just read it. The president says, congratulations to all the delegates at the NRM Delegates Conference for its success.
Yes.
I also want to express my gratitude to enduring sleepless nights to ensure that all party processes were conducted successfully. I am happy about large membership, which stands at 20 million. And then he says, it is important that we do not let bad behaviors, such as bribery and unethical practices pollute our NRM. So,
has been going around
no. So the president is cognizant. The president is cognizant that certain things didn't go well, especially from.
Listen, that is all. That is all wrong, sir. You cannot rationalize.
But this is what he's saying.
Listen, he is duty bound to enforce the code of conduct, which he did not. He doesn't even refer to it. He doesn't even know it.
But he's not saying it here. First of all, I said so publicly.
Which is successful, but so make up your mind.
A human effort. You cannot say it will go 100%.
As the flows as just mere glitches.
Guys, I don't know where you come from, but it must be really.
Well, I guess in PFF and FDC where you were before, all things went well.
We had a code of conduct.
Well,
and we enforced it.
Everything
Honorable Salam,
we enforced
you seem to be having a good laugh about what's happening in the end.
There's nothing laughable.
Let us see
There's nothing laughable about what we have.
Considering that whatever happened left the NRM bruised,
there's nothing
is
laughable.
the opposition cashing in on the opportunity of a weakening NRM?
You cannot pick stuff from the gutters and call it picking. It's not. You see, you infect an entire country with bribery, thuggery, lawlessness, you know, and you call it success. You call it success by their own standards. I mean, this is sickening.
Success depends on what we set ourselves to achieve. And in our view, we achieve.
You are impatient today. You want to respond to every point.
No.
So why don't you start with the Wariomus?
I'm wishing the Honorable Salam to
when you start with the Wariomus, he has sent a message here.
But you
start with the Wariomus.
if the recurrence of this thuggery goes down into the countryside, the results will be the same. And I bet you might be a casualty.
Yeah, you're furious.
At that point.
You're furious as if you expected it better. Did you?
No, I'm actually wasting my concern. Yeah, thank you for reminding me.
We shall wait for in January and see.
You see,
Major Raboni, you said the new team is re-energizing the NRM. For what? When the two constants are still at the top.
Well, the two constants were at the top because there was no competition for their particular position.
They removed the competition.
But the bigger question for me is that these conferences that we hold and the elections, the internal democratic mechanisms we are trying to build, are they sustainable? Can we strengthen them more across the board? I feel good when there is a good delegates conference in the UPC or in the DP. I was very excited last Friday when I represented my Secretary General in IPOD in Entebbe, and we were together with Honorable Akena. I did not know that IPOD was an initiative that was begun by the DP and the UPC. And the maturity we had in that interaction.
They said that's even a lie.
And FDC, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
You
FDC,
know, you are so selective.
DP, UPC, FDC were instrumental in convincing government that this was dialogue, inter-party dialogue was important. That's very important. So, inter-party dialogue is critical. Building capacity within parties, very, very important. And then building the civic competence of our people, our citizens generally. Because the problems in UPC, you will find in DP, we are the same people, Ugandans. You will find in the NRM, how do we fight, how do we raise the civic competence of our people?
Okay.
So that they vote for leaders who are going to help them, and they dump the habits of taking money from contestants and being divided along tribal and if Kadaga is not elected, Busoga will do.
Do you agree that this election has left NRM bruised? And how can NRM pick up the pieces?
With every election, we learn lessons and we try to build on them. NRM is not different from any other formation in the country. Even institutions like traditional institutions have their problems, churches have their problems. So our political parties need to understand that they have to outgrow certain characteristics, certain tendencies. They need to have introspection and say, 10 years from now, what are we going to look like as NRM?
Okay.
20 years from now,
what does NRM look like now?
be?
What does NRM look like now? After all this full glare, the drama, the money, the bloodshed, the fighting.
NRM has a glorious history. From a fighting force of 27 fighters
Today,
to now a political party that has a membership of millions and with structures, and it has organized a state and an economy and has kept Uganda and the region safe, has ensured security and stability for the country.
what I mean, in the aftermath,
NRM
of this
the NRM has a story to
shambolic
tell.
process, if I could borrow Bariumus's term,
But now the NRM has to do introspection, like I said, like any other political party, that going forward, what are we going to do in regard to the use of money in elections? It's a big problem. What are we going to do about ethnicity, problems of ethnicity in the party? Saying, I am so and so, I come from Busoga, if you don't elect me, all hell will break loose. Now, that is a very reactionary way of doing business.
Please, it can't be reactionary when you have all the leagues, 5 out of 7,
So
coming from one region.
I think the challenges are clear.
Don't think we are escorts.
is it anything that matters?
It does a lot.
They were elected.
No, sir.
Was in PPF who...
Ask the question.
Ask.
If you don't have, keep
PPF,
quiet.
In PPF, don't you have
PFF.
all the PFF? I can't even PFF. Same clan people, and they co-opted Saddam now.
No.
You
You have no clue.
having witnessed
You must
everything,
be
you've also
drunk.
suffered a bit of the drama and the mischief that plays out in internal democracy. Do you think it's time to rethink internal party democracy across board?
But what is there to rethink? Internal democracy
Oh,
is a
it's
necessity.
failed.
No, it's a necessity. It is a necessity. We just have to find ways of how we can perfect it or make it work for us. What we've witnessed has given us an insight, but there are certain aspects which is scary. The obscene amount of money used. And when you take the source of this issue, like in America, they have problems of interests, funding electoral processes. In the case of Uganda, it is leakages from public funds which are working within the same system to undermine, whatever it is. So, for me, that is a very scary aspect of it. And it's something which NRM need to really reflect upon. If what you're presenting to the nation is just people who are there to grab and use resources and do whatever it is, at least on one side, for political reasons, as far as the election is concerned, NRM have unmasked themselves and we can deal with them in the election. But as far as what does it say for this country, and me coming from a point of view of UPC, where we're being condemned, UPC rigged election, Obote came to Uganda on 27th May, election was in December of that year, mid-December. Somebody who was part and parcel of the structure.
He had surrogates here.
Oh yes, he had surrogates now.
Milton Bote had surrogates.
He had surrogates, but
my father was one of his surrogates.
different
Who helped him
where
rig.
somebody built an army, and this is where I disagree with this issue, and the president was very clear during, after Major Beriga's death, when he spoke to Parliament. The 27 or the 20-something was when he entered Uganda in December of 1978. When Kampala fell, in his book, Sowing of the Mustard Seed, he said he had 7,000 men under arms. In Parliament, he brought it to 9,000. But by the time he went to the bush, there were over 12,000, and that is what defected. That's what split. Now, Obote, who came without building an army, he was locked out. Locked out in 1978. Could not set foot in Uganda until May of 1980. We've taken this blame for years. For me, this election, I'm going to set records straight. Records of economy. People talk about economy. I'm going to set that record straight. I'm going to set the UPC record straight. But the most important issue of this election is where the people fall into it. Because NRM has nothing on this whole thing. I saw nothing to do with the people. As somebody who is in politics for the people of Uganda, I am going to deal with that one politically. But what this display was, it doesn't augur well as far as democracy and the growth.
Thank you very much. I just need to tell our viewers that we're now switching to Afro Mobile, and I want to thank our audiences on Afro Mobile. Welcome.